So what makes someone cool? I got the idea for this video from an email that I got. I was actually thinking about being young and thinking about what's cool and trying to keep up with trends and things like that a little while ago. But I got this email that talked about this study that they did where they examined and they went through different cultures in different countries and they found some similarities with what people determine to be cool. They asked people, what are some of the qualities that you would associate with someone being cool? And I'm going to list the qualities that they gave, and then I'm going to talk about my opinion and what I see as cool, but kind of relates to culture to today and what I see going on with, just the trends and things like that. And I thought it would be an interesting video to talk about. So the email was interesting because it said these are the 6 qualities that cross-culturally people attribute to who they see as cool. And they are, number 1, extroverted. So they're outgoing, extroverted personality. They're hedonistic. So someone who's kind of geared towards having pleasure and fun in their life. They're powerful, adventurous, they're open, and they're autonomous. And I think definitely some of those are seen as cool, and at least today, because I think if you did that study maybe 30 years ago, things might change. Maybe 100 years ago, things might have changed. So the way that we see cool might change with time, and it also is geared toward the individual as well. What I see as cool might not necessarily be what you see as cool, but they saw some overlap between that. So I thought that was interesting. But I would challenge a couple of them, like extroverted. Who's someone that is not extroverted, but everybody thinks is cool? I think of Keanu Reeves, right? Keanu Reeves is this guy who's like, does his own thing, rides the subway, he's not someone who's out there making this big flash and stuff like that. He kind of beats to his own drum. He's not extroverted and he's freaking cool. So what is it to be cool? I thought about what is it to be cool? Well, the reason why I really thought about the definition of cool was I see the trends that people are, they go to the trendy spot to eat food, or they do these trendy things on TikTok or whatever. I don't have TikTok, but all this stuff. It's like I'm following along with the trend. And someone who's cool, they don't follow trends unless if the trend is what they genuinely want to do. They don't try to fit in, they just are. And I think the biggest definition for me that I think with cool is they are unapologetically themselves. They know who they are. They don't try to fit someone else's mold. To me, that's cool. They're not, oh, well, everyone's doing this. I'm going to do this to look cool. I'm going to dress a certain way to look cool. I'm going to fit it. They're not doing it to go against the grain. So they're not doing it in a knee-jerk reaction. I'm going to do the opposite. They're being themselves. And it's like, I used to think about it when I was a kid, and I grew up on pop music. Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey. I used to grow up on that music. And it's as a man, it's just one of those things where it's just not that cool to like a Britney Spears song that comes out, and everybody loved Britney Spears because she was hot, but it was like, you're not listening to her music, you're listening to more of the hardcore rap and all these other things. And I like all sorts of music. But later on in life, I started to be like, you know what? I freaking like Taylor Swift when she puts out a song. I don't like all of them, but I don't apologize for things that I genuinely like. Where do my likes and my interests come from? I don't know. God, the universe, my genetics, my upbringing, but I'm not lying to people saying, no, I like that music. That's my favorite song, even though I actually really like a Taylor Swift song and I'm trying to fit in with the trends with what the guys are doing or the crowd that I'm in with. You're cool because you know who you are, and no trend, no amount of popular, maybe. Hey, if I want to be popular, I might have to do certain things. But who are the popular kids? They're not necessarily always the ones, or popular adults. They're not necessarily the ones that are always doing the trendy things. Keanu Reeves, case in point. He's not following along with the trends. Christian Bale, dude's freaking cool, drives the same Toyota truck from 2005 or whatever the heck it is. That was like, a social media post on, man, this guy's fucking cool. He's not He could buy fucking Bugattis if he wanted to, right? Some people look at that as cool. Some people have different ways of viewing cool. But no matter what, if you're buying a Bugatti or a Ferrari because everyone else is, you are by definition not cool. If you're buying it because you really, really love those cars and you're into it and you know yourself, that's cool. And I see it with kids today where it's like, they, with the comments and things and the way that they approach things, and I'm going, I look at it and I just laugh and I just say, like, you're not cool. The way that you're acting is not cool. You might be popular, but I look at it kind of like, hey, that person's in their realm cool. They're popular. They're trending. Yeah, it's okay to be king of the losers, but you're still a loser. And that's how I look at it. And maybe it just turns into that's kind of all our culture is. And for a lot of times I look around and I get sad because I see the influence that some of these people have, and it's kind of disturbing. But I think about this concept of cool, and it always comes back around. I've seen it. I've seen some of the destruction of, the coolest kid in high school, he's a freaking loser now. And it's like those attitudes and those things, they only last for so long because trends come and go. And you have to know yourself. And to me today, that's the coolest quality of them all is, hey, I like what I like. I'm unapologetic about it. I'm not doing it because someone else is telling me that that's what I should do. I do it because I genuinely am interested in it. That's cool. I remember going to clubs and bars and things when I was, young, and it was like, and there's this thing when you're young, you want to be cool, like, because that's how you get chicks, and you want to fit in, and you want to be along with the trends and stuff, and you're being pushed and pulled between all these things. And I always felt so uncomfortable in clubs and in the bottle service and trying to be cool and wearing the clothes and driving the cars. And I was like, I had this inherent thing, and you're all losers. Like, that's what I really felt. But I was like, I had to do it because I wanted to fit in and I wanted to be quote unquote cool. Well, I was cool. I remember I used to do things and people would like trend thing like okay, like I wear earrings, right? I had my own reasons for doing it. And then tons of other people started doing it around me. And I would set trends. I used to wear these rubber bands on my wrists, and this was even before the NBA players started wearing all the Live Strong. I was wearing them because I read in a biography about Wilt Chamberlain that he wore he wore rubber bands on his wrists because they would wear those high socks and they would tie them up. They didn't have the same elastic like we had back in the day, so they would tie them up to make sure that they stayed up with rubber bands if they fell during games and things. And so they would always wear rubber bands on their wrists. And I was like, oh, Wilt Chamberlain, he's the man. And I was like, I'm gonna wear those, as a reminder to myself about Wilt, because I was playing basketball all the time, and I started wearing them, and then other people started wearing them, and then it became this popular thing. And I don't know if I was part of the I didn't set a trend, when I was in middle school. I didn't set a trend that went around the globe. Maybe I was part of some cultural consciousness where people start to, these ideas, they didn't really come from me. They came from the consciousness around us. And I was just maybe ahead of the curve on many levels. And then it started to happen and I had no influence on it. That's really what it's like. But what I'm saying is I did it for my own reasons. It wasn't like, oh, everybody else is wearing them, I'm gonna wear them too. When they started getting popular again, I'm like, it's not cool anymore. And I think that's what being cool is you're setting the trends because other people look at you. And once everyone else is doing it, it's no longer cool. And so with cool, again, it's beating to your own drum. It really is. And it doesn't matter what you are. What I find really cool today in people is exactly that. When they're into something, they might be into, I don't know, toy trains, but they're into it. Their energy is focused and they know everything about them, and they go to the stores and they get them and they paint them different colors and they do all these things and they set them up and this is a grown man. you'd say, oh, that's nerdy. No, no, no. He's cool because if somebody asked him, what are you into? And he'd say, I'm into toy trains. Not, I'm into, hey, this is who I am. That's cool. Know yourself. And, and I think so much of today is, we put it on our social media. It's trending and people fit along with the trends. And I made a video about content and how it's getting exhausting now. And everyone's doing what everyone else is doing so that they can get more views. And I know this kind of goes back to that topic where it's like, that's not good, right? We don't want to just do things to do them. We want to genuinely, that's what YouTube is about. It's about genuinely being you, putting yourself on camera and expressing yourself, as opposed to just doing things so that I can get more views, so that I can get more money. And we conflate money with cool a lot of times as well. And I think that if there's one thing that you can take away and I can take away from this is don't lose sight of who you are and stay true to that, whatever it is, because everyone's unique, everyone's cool. We get lost in these trends and we lose ourselves. I remember doing that. I lost who I was. I stopped wearing my earrings for a long time because I was trying to fit in. Oh, these people aren't going to accept me here. And I was doing it for other people. And I started saying, you know what? I don't know who I am, but I know that I know about myself. Who cares what other people think of me? When I put my earrings on, I enjoy it. I like having this look to myself, okay? I like shaving my head. Oh, no, you should have your hair longer. I don't care. Oh, your beard is too big. I don't care. I want to be me. And sometimes that changes day to day. And maybe tomorrow I take my earrings out. But that's being me. It's not reacting to other people. There's always a conversation about your identity through other people. You have to have that. I'm not saying that that doesn't exist. But I'm saying when you do that too much, when you let other people dictate everything else around you, and I know from experience, I did this, and it's painful, you're miserable. You're with the cool kids, you're at the cool party, and you're miserable because it's not where you want to really be. It's not really what you want to do. And I would implore, especially young people, is to spend some time with yourself because things move so fast. Ferris Bueller, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to take a look around once in a while, it could pass you by. And that's what was happening to me. I was not really connecting with JD or the thing behind JD, the true consciousness of it all. And I was just letting all these other things push and pull me into different directions. And I was unhappy. And I'm starting to find myself again now. And that only comes from my connection with my higher power, which means I have to be alone. I'm not going to find that through watching a video. I'm not going to find that on some retreat. I'm not going to find that in a book. I'm going to find that by spending time with myself. And I do that through meditation, through prayer, just sitting around, talking to God, daydreaming. Okay. What turns me on? What gets me going? What's the essence of me? And sometimes you've been pushed and pulled between so many different things from such an early age, and things happen so fast that you don't even know where to begin. And I would say start with just sitting alone and then maybe do some writing to yourself. Ask yourself some questions and see what the answers come. Write it down. Or just sit and daydream and think about stuff. And we're bombarded with content 24/7. I'm guilty of it as well. And we never get a break. And we never really know who we are. And I see that, like I said, when I made that video about content, is these good people are shitting on other people that they really agree with on 99% of the things that they're talking about. And they're good people and they want to uplift society. But they've gotten lost in content creation and they don't know what they're doing because everyone else is doing it and it's trendy and it's what you do and it's how you make a living and you make all these excuses for what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you don't realize that they're excuses. You're just living that life. So know thyself. That's one of the biggest keys that I could say in this video is knowing yourself. It's fucking cool, man. It's really cool. And I dig it in other people. I see it more now. I guarantee you my perception of cool has changed over time. As I've gotten older, things that I find cool in other people have changed. But again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm spending more time with myself, getting rid of the BS and all of the other influences. I'm letting my own interests shine through. And at the end of the day, cool is subjective. You find cool whatever it is that you find cool. So be cool, be yourself. And that's it for today.